Hi, welcome back to Coronal Blossom, Volume 1, Episode 4. So, in the last episode, we ended quite an interesting scene. But before I get to that, let's just talk about what happened before the interesting scene. So, after the workout with testing a repaired Vorks robot with Kumiko and Keiji, they're tired and they want some refreshments. And Shino happened to have a watermelon, except that she forgot to bring a knife to open up the watermelon. And then a little incident happened which caused Shino to drop the watermelon on Keiji's head, and that seemed to do the trick. And then there was also this conversation about Keiji's antique watch, and despite it being 10 years old, it still works, even though Keiji does open it up and fix it time over time. But then the conversation was interrupted because of something interesting that happened at this abandoned factory. A meteor crashed into it, and now it's burned up the factory. And it surprised everyone because the meteor was supposed to land somewhere in Russia. But as they went to find out what happened, it turns out that they're not talking about the same meteor. Well, the space agency and these people. So the meteor that they were tracking did end up somewhere in Russia, but this one's something else. And for some reason, it was off the radar. And as it burns up the factory, they're trying to call for help. And thankfully, there's nobody in there. At least now. So as Keiji goes and tries to figure out what crashed in this factory, looks like something weird's about to happen. And let's see what that is going to be. Okay, dot. Wait, what was that just now? So I think Keiji realizes that that this crash is something unusual. So despite them confirming that there's nobody there, so it looks like there's something that's moving. A child? I just can't tell. And he might think that it's just an illusion, but then again, he feels like it's not an illusion. Okay, we can hear another blast. My heart stops. It's moving. I'm certain that I saw something running through the wreckage, or at least I felt something. So now he thinks that maybe there was someone that was at the radius of the impact. So he goes and tries to rescue the person. And Arshino's worried. Come on, get out. I'm going to go in with the Vorks. Pulling out survivors. So he's going to take over the machine that Kumiko was testing on earlier. Hey, it's dangerous, and plus this isn't our machine. It's owned by someone else. So we can't be using other people's machines to be doing our own work. I'll apologize afterwards. If by some chance I break it, I'll do everything I can to compensate him. But didn't you say that it was expensive and it would have drained people's wallets? No, there was someone inside. I might have been seeing things, but... Well, how about let's all go? Okay, so maybe rough landing for the Vorks. It just rolled off the truck. Alright, time to move out. Oh wait, I had the skills and expertise to run this machine. No, this is my responsibility. I need you to support me over the radio. Does Keiji even have the skills and expertise to run a robot? Because we know that Kumiko is a robo sports competitor. As though shaking myself free of the voice behind me, I forced my way into the building. So I'm not really sure if Keiji has the skills needed for this emergency operation. But either way, he goes in, and he feels that he has the responsibility to rescue that figure in the fire. Just getting close to the flames causes a wave of dizziness to wash over me. Oh yeah, and also the fact that the systems on the Vorks, they're not fully operational, so he should be taking some caution when he uses it during an emergency mission. Okay, yeah, I can still hear you, loud and clear. Well, Kimiko has a valid point for concern, given that 1, he might not have the skills to operate the robot, the Vorks, and the fact that this is not their property and it's a customer repair request. But someone's life's on the line. That comes first. Let me focus. So it is in kind of a remote area, so it takes some time for the fire department to come. So that's why they're kind of concerned, and because 10 minutes is pretty long for a fire emergency. Oh, so Kimiko did work at a Osaki Ironworks before? Interesting. Kimiko? Alright. I'm looking, but I don't see anyone. Oh, you know, there's a feature on this robot that might be helpful. Yeah. That said, some chemicals can cause explosions when they come into contact with water. I just spray the hose wherever I like. Well, I know there's some chemicals. I know the famous alkali metals. If they come in water, they explode, and I think I watched this in science class where they try to put cesium in a bucket of water, and or in a glass of water, and it caused a pretty big explosion. That was kind of exciting. Great, I should have suggested to Mr. Yamasa that we get a chemical resistant hose attachment when I was repairing this thing. Well, I don't think he would have thought about that if this emergency never happened. And of course, customers are always looking to cut corners and cut down costs. So saying this now is pretty pointless. Oh no, my head's spinning. So Keiji is concerned that maybe the tool that Kimiko suggested isn't going to do much help and might even cause the fire to get worse. Yeah, I can hear you, thanks. So at least he's still responsive. I focus up, keeping my eyes peeled for any sign of the survivor. But nothing happens. Nothing's coming out. Hey, can you hear me? I'm here to help. Okay, so he broadcasts his message, but no one listens, or just no answer. But Keiji is pretty confident that there is a person that needs to be saved from this fire. But either way, there's no response, and even when I call out, was it really just seeing things? But then it's like Keiji starts to question his senses, and then Kimiko is like, "Well, didn't you tell me about the time about the watch where you said that the second hand was moving even though it looked like it stopped? So you have really good instincts." Oh yeah. What's this all of a sudden? Is now really the time? That's what I thought, but Kimiko's usually the sort who can read the situation. So there must be a point for this. As I look around, I gave a listen to what she has to say. Okay, thanks for the information. So what Kimiko is referring to is the idea of target fixation, where if you look at that one object, your eyes end up moving with the object where it goes, and you kind of don't realize the surroundings. So in terms of frame of reference, you don't see the object moving even though it is. And that's why you have to change your frame of reference to another point that's stationary. Okay? So yeah, the idea is that your brain's not registering the surroundings, and because your frame of reference is on the object, it appears that it's not moving because your eye is following the object. Okay, that's interesting to know. So the brain gets confused. Okay, is it because you're worrying that everything looks like it stopped? So maybe because there's so much going on that Keiji's kind of confused and he's not really. He can't really register all the things that he's seeing at the instant. But yeah, Keiji's like, well, I'm worried, so he's probably in panic, and that's why his brain's confused and he's not registering everything that he's seen. But Kumiko's saying that but you should trust your original sense. The fact that you see when you spotted someone that was moving. So it's like your original sense when you were much clearer back then. It's like that's probably correct. Got it. This conversation is typical of her. Some of the RoboSports matches she's fought in have been decided in a fraction of a second. So Kumiko's using her expertise as a RoboSports competitor to tell Keiji what's going on with his sense of vision. She must bear in mind that she can optimize speed and that she doesn't want to waste a single moment. Yep, timing is of essence, especially in a fast-paced competition. Wait, the watch hasn't stopped. And nor is my life. I reflexively wipe the sweat away from my brow using the back of my hand and find myself gripping the watch tightly. So, as he clears up his mind and tries to, like, unconfuse what he's seeing, he then notices something up ahead, and he spots a dark shadow. Wait, something just shimmered. So now he's seeing something more than what we originally thought it was. Is it an accessory? Is it something? Well, what kind of accessory is it? Because I don't recall that accessories are that big. No, it might just have been something reflecting off the oil that is spilled all over the floor. Jeez. What kind of factory is this? I thought they would clean up all the hazardous waste once the factory was abandoned, but it looks like they left all the dangerous combustible fluid in here. And it's no surprise that this factory suffered immense damage. But then it could be illusion. Going back to that fixation theory and frame of reference theory. But either way, he makes a single step with the Vorks Machine. Well, I'm gonna go forward anyways. I need to trust my original senses. The next moment, something moves in my field of vision. So there you go. His original sense is confirmed. Something moved. I immediately push down again on the thrust lever. And looks like he did find something of interest. But we see Kumiko concerned about what just happened. Looks like he might have fallen into something. Don't worry, some of the wreckage in front of me just collapsed, that's all. Okay? More importantly, something's pinned underneath it, I'm gonna start digging it now. So I wonder what it is that he's spotted. And of course, don't forget that this robot is still a work in progress. They're still testing it. So, I'm pretty sure there's still repairs that need to be done on the robot, including the cockpit. And it's kind of interesting because Keiji was the one that was telling Kumiko about it when she was testing out the new Vorks Machine. Yeah, I know. If there's any sign that the place is on its way down, I'll pull out. So, I think, he's gonna try to stay in as much as possible, and, he knows his boundaries, and his limit is when the building starts to collapse because of the fire. Okay. Got it. Listening closely to the movements that the hydraulic system made, I carefully began pushing the wreckage out of the way. So I wonder what he found after all that rubble. It is kind of embarrassing to hear a girl at your own age talk about a lifelong commitment like that. I'll keep my promise to her. I'll come home. But I'll do it without any regrets. He just want to get this mission solved, and he wants to save that person in the fire. And after moving some of the wreckage out of the way, one piece at a time, I spot that sparkle again. So I wonder if he did find something. I'm still kind of curious what it is. Unknown. It's a blue shell, maybe metallic. And of course, Keiji's kind of questioning it as well. There's an opening just big enough for a person to lie down. There I find. So I wonder where the opening is. Well, we did find something interesting. It says unknown. Yeah, but well... if forced to describe, I'd say it was like some kind of liquid metal. Okay, so it is shiny. I think it's just this game, they colored it kind of blue tinted. Or probably it was in the dark space with lots of smoke. But it's metal and shiny. It basically looks like molten lead, the kind they use for soldering. So the little liquid, well, it's metal, and if you melt it, it becomes liquid, and use it to mount all the chips, ICs, and processors, and transistors, all sorts of electronic components onto a circuit board. Well, then again, solder is like it's lead and tin, so there's actually tin in it as well. But either way, it looks like lead. More perfect in its natural form than anything else in the world. A drop of liquid metal. Ooh, it must be a rare gem. Huh? This is the thing that was moving around? It is some kind of chemical substance. I wonder if it's a new element to be discovered. Could it be that this was what exploded? Maybe. Okay, so it explodes again. I instinctively tighten up, but no matter how much time passes, nothing strikes me but an intense wave of heat. Actually, every time a little flame sparks up, the blob of liquid starts trembling. Is it scared? So it probably has feelings as well, not an inanimate object. Every time the flames approach, the blob darts about. Its movements are those of a smart creature that instinctively fears fire. Wait, this thing is alive. So it is living. And don't forget Kumiko. Oh no, she's breaking up. Oh crap, what should I do? Should I try rescuing this thing? So I wonder if Keiji is out of range with Kumiko's headset. Because as he's kind of interested in what this thing is and trying to get closer to observe it, he's moving out of range with Kumiko, and Kumiko is now concerned and she's worried about Keiji's safety. Right in front of me is a gloopy blob of liquid metal, shrinking in fear from the approaching flames. Faced with this paradoxical thing, my brain ceases to function. So now once again he's confused. Whether to go for safety, or like he's just trying to rescue this living thing, but then at the same time he's kind of interested and excited about some unusual creature. I can see it moving out of the corner of my eye. The hand on my watch is definitely ticking once every second. So in a sense, he knows it's not an illusion or not some kind of imagination. It's actually what is happening. But I've got to move. Just thinking isn't going to achieve anything. The creature is frightened, and I've got to save it. With newfound resolve, I extended the Vorks arms, and I suppose even though the robot is really hot though, because of the liquid, jumps back. So he's trying to pick this thing up, but this liquid blob thinks it's too hot, and it's trying to move away from the arm. It does climb up the top of the canopy though, however. So where's the canopy? Oh, I see. The cockpit is the coldest part of the machine. So this blob does have idea of temperature, and it finds the coolest place from the heat. Okay, I'm gonna let you in. I pry open the canopy, or a little with my bare hands, and the liquid seems to seep in the cockpit through the crack. Ooh. Very interesting life form. After I made sure it's all inside, I close the canopy and get nice and cool. When I reach out, my arm accidentally grazes against the liquid. Ow! I reflexively withdraw my hands at the burning sensation. So probably this liquid is way too hot. It's gotten too much heat from the fire and the impact of crashing onto Earth. Okay, so who's this? There's suddenly a crow crouching right in front of me. Then out of the blue, I felt a wall of hot air slam against my back.
Shino, とりあえず手が空いてるのと若いの連れてきたぞ。あとボークスもな。
Okay, so on the other side, it looks like help has arrived, and looks like Shino's father's here, and he's like, "Hey, Shino, brought everything that I could find, rescuers, even a Vorks to go through all this mess." But you know, Kei's in there. He's inside a machine and trying to rescue someone. And from their point of view, it doesn't look like there's much hope for Keiji, given that there are all these explosions and he's probably been in there for quite a long time, and now it's just making Kumiko and Shino and everyone else worried.
おい、グミ、どうなってる？
Who's Gumi?
それがさっきから応答がなくて電波障害が起きてるっぽくて。
Okay, so it looks like the reception he's out of range. Or well, to say it more complicated, it's he's actually in range, but there's some kind of interference that's blocking his communication signals between Keiji and Kumiko. So in a sense, they're kind of cut off. It's kind of like cutting your phone line with a pair of scissors.
なんてこった。
ボークス持ってきたんですよね。お借りしていいですか？私も中に。
But I'm worried. I'm gonna use the Vorks and go and find Keiji. So all these explosions are just making the situation worse.
そう。何かあったら大崎のじいさんになんて言えば。こうなったら俺が。
And now even Shino's dad's worked up.
いや、さっきも言いましたが、私に行かせてください。私が言ってれば。
And I did like, well, I told him not to go in, and I can do it. I have experience, I have skills needed to operate a machine. Like Keiji doesn't have the skills, and we don't know if he's gonna successfully go into the fire and save the person. But did you notice something unusual that's happening right now?
No!
What's going on? I don't know what this is, but it looks like a big gun. I wonder what this is, though. Now it looks like a robot to me. out of the flames comes a huge mass of metal. And it looks like the cockpit's compromised. And it looks like well, it kind of looked like Kei burned up in the flames. Oh no, this Vorks is at its limit. It's been through all the heat that it couldn't handle, and now it's going to collapse. Don't worry, everything will be alright. Just leave it to the experts. There you go. And Shino's still worried. So Shino's dad is putting all of the other people to work. Then again, I don't think a fire extinguisher would have enough power to put out all these flames. Okay, so what's going on now? Okay, so now Kumiko notices something interesting going on. She notices that there's something that's coming out. An escape pod, one of those ejection seats, I guess. What? Not even that feature? Wow, I think this machine really lacks the necessary safety features. Okay, so the canopy of the Vorks opens up and something gooey starts seeping out. But what about Kei? Kei or Keiji? So Shino thinks that Kei was probably engulfed by the flames and became ash or molten metal. Well, if it isn't Kei melted or Keiji melted, then what is it? And where did this liquid metal come from? Okay. So now everyone's kind of shocked at what this liquid metal can do. Okay, I think Shino's out of her mind. She's lost her mind because she's so worried about Kei, but all the things that's been happening kind of makes it worse. So Kei hasn't made an appearance yet, and now we see this liquid in the cockpit, and as the door opens up, this liquid turns into a person that is not Kei. Okay, this looks like the opening to Chrono Blossom, Volume 1. And in a framing sense, it means I'm about 20 to 30% through with this entire game, or Volume 1 at least. And this is usually the cutoff point for where I'm going to do the playthrough. But unlike the other games that I did a playthrough of, Innocent Girl and Yukikoi Melt, this game is in English and available on Steam. So I may make an exception and go all the way through with it. But I'm not really firm about that yet. So it'll be best if I got some comments about whether or not I should continue this. And if I do choose to drop it, it also means I will not be doing Volume 2 or Volume 3 of Chrono Blossom. Because if I like the continuation, I don't want to spoil anything if I start Volume 2 or 3. But either way, we see that there's quite a bit of departure from the other games that the author or the writer and the character designer have made. So instead of being pushed into something that he doesn't like by the girls, it looks like he discovers something unusual. And there's less emphasis on the part about how he hates machines. Or I'm just wondering if that was a typo in the description. But either way, I'll see you later. And if I don't end up doing this game, I'll see you in a future playthrough on a future game to be announced. And with that in mind, I will see you later.